You know that feeling? Like you're in a relationship that has this secret rule book that nobody ever gave you. You're always on defense, always trying to put out fires that seem to just pop up out of nowhere. Well, I want you to reframe that. This isn't some personal failure on your part. No, it's a game, a really dangerous one. And today, we're going to learn the rules so you can finally win.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out what this dangerous game is all about. Then we'll get to know our opponent, what makes them tick. After that, we'll break down their classic moves, the ones they use over and over. And then, the best part, we'll lay out your winning strategy. Finally, we'll talk about what it means to wake up and really win. It's time to stop being a pawn and start being a player. This quote right here, it really hits the nail on the head. You see, the whole reason this game is so incredibly hard is that you're not actually dealing with one consistent person. Nope. You're up against a whole collection of masks, a bunch of different personas they switch between to keep you completely confused. It really is like being trapped in a hall of mirrors, and you never know which reflection is real. Okay, let's dive into the first part of the playbook. And we have to start with this fundamental shift in thinking. You're not in a relationship. You're in a maze. You know that feeling of being totally lost, confused, always hitting a dead end? That's not a bug, it's a feature. It is absolutely by design. Just when you think you figured out the path, boom, the walls move, and you're trapped all over again. So, how do you get out of a maze like that? Well, first, you have to understand your opponent. And listen, this is where it gets really interesting, because this is where we find their biggest, most exploitable weakness. You see, their game, it looks like random chaos, but it's not. It's actually built on incredibly predictable, repeating patterns. And here it is, their Achilles heel, behavioral rigidity. Now, what does that mean? It means they can't come up with new tricks. They're stuck. They have a limited playbook, and they just run the same plays over and over and over again. This is huge, because it means their actions are predictable. Once you know what to look for, you can see their moves coming a mile away. You can anticipate them, counter them, and that right there, that's how you start to turn the tables. So let's break down their core programming, right? What are they always trying to do? Number one, create problems for you to solve. This keeps you totally exhausted, distracted, and always focused on them. Number two, constantly show their power. Every single interaction is a power play. And number three, distort reality. This is their main weapon. So remember, none of this is random meanness. These are the basic mechanics of the game they're playing with you. All right, so we know their core functions. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to look at the specific moves they make, their classic plays. This is all about decoding their manipulative playbook, so you can start seeing these moves coming way before they actually happen. Okay, here's one of their go-to tactics, and it's brutally effective. The constant barrage. It's just a relentless series of shocks. 1 minute, it's a huge argument. The next, it's a passive-aggressive insult. Then, a suddenly manufactured crisis. It's just one thing after another after another. You never get a second to breathe, let alone heal. And that's the point. The goal is to keep you perpetually off balance, stuck in crisis mode, so you can't think clearly. Now this is a really fascinating communication trick you need to watch out for. When a narcissist just volunteers information out of the blue, something you didn't even ask for, that's a huge red flag. And here's the rule of thumb. It's super simple. Whatever they just said, assume the exact opposite is the truth. Seriously, just invert the facts. It is a surprisingly powerful decoding tool. Oh, this one, the I have changed game. I'm sure many of you have seen this one played. It's designed to hook you with just a little bit of hope. Right when you're at your breaking point, when you're finally ready to walk away, they suddenly start showing progress. They make you think, maybe this time is different. Maybe we're finally building something better. But you have to see it for what it is, a mirage. It's just a strategic move to keep you stuck in the maze. And then there's the I am kind game. And you know, this one is maybe the most dangerous. They'll suddenly become so gentle, so understanding, they create this little bubble of false security. But here's the terrifying part. The goal isn't connection, it's reconnaissance. While you're feeling safe and opening up, they are taking notes. They're gathering intel on your fears, your hopes, your weaknesses, all of which will be filed away and weaponized against you later. Okay, listen up, because this is critical. If you ever hear this question, what are your future intentions? I want you to see it for what it is, a trap. There is one rule, and it's non-negotiable. Never answer this question. Do not tell them your plans. Don't tell them your hopes. Giving them that information is literally like handing them the map to your escape route. Keep it locked down. And of course, there are a few other greatest hits in their playbook. You've got questioning the facts, classic gaslighting to make you think you're going crazy. Then there's just constant lying. It's meant to keep you disoriented. But this last one is so, so important. Belittling your interests and hobbies. They do this for a reason. It's a slow, systematic process to chip away at the things that make you you. The goal is to isolate you from your own sense of self until you don't even recognize who you are anymore. Okay, deep breath. We've walked through the maze, we've decoded the playbook. Now comes the most important part of this whole thing, your strategy. And listen, this is not about getting better at playing their game. This is about starting a completely new game, one where you make the rules. So let's get into the 8 requirements for taking back control. All right, this is your new rulebook. Let's break it down. First, it starts with your mindset. You have to maintain complete vigilance. And rule number 3 is huge. Do not trust them. I mean, ever, especially when they're being nice. Next, it's about strategy. Be flexible. Change your tactics when you see an opening. Always be planning for your survival. And use what you know about their weaknesses, that behavioral rigidity we talked about. But most importantly, this is about you. Focus on yourself. Address your own weaknesses, sure, but really enhance your strengths. And this last part is key. Create a hidden, parallel world. That's your safe space. It's where you keep your real plans, your real friends, your real self. It's your righteous path. And by having that, you become completely unpredictable. So what happens? What's the payoff when you start using this new rulebook? When you finally stop playing their twisted game and start playing your own? Well, the result is a massive power shift. You go from being lost in that dark maze to waking up and actually winning. It really is this simple, but it is so profound. The second you wake up, the moment you see the game for what it is, you jam a wrench into their entire system. See, their whole plan relies on you being asleep, on you being confused and predictable. The minute you stop being those things, their strategy just completely falls apart. And this is what happens next. Remember that behavioral rigidity we talked about? Their inability to adapt? Well, that's their downfall. Because when you start changing strategies, when you start moving with your own purpose, you start playing the game faster than they can. They literally can't keep up. They lose control. And you might even hear them say something like, "Hey, slow down." And that's when you know. That's when you know you've won. You are setting the pace now. So there you have it. We've gone from the maze through their entire playbook and landed on a winning strategy. Their power comes from one place, your confusion. But knowledge is the ultimate antidote to that. Knowledge gives you the power to change the entire game. So the only question I have for you is, are you ready to change the rules?